Hello, welcome to a tutorial on reading the major arcana. And I'm going to go ahead and go through the cards, and I'm going to go through upright and reversed, and you may hear questions from a student that is also here.
Hello.
And so let's go ahead and jump right on in. We're going to go through 0 through 21, and the first card is the Fool card, and it is the 0. And the Fool can represent a childlike innocence, freedom, originality, lack of commitment, travel, like on a journey. Could represent foolishness, being that, you're not watching where you're going.
Or being naive.
Carelessness, idealism, youth, new beginnings, and just packing up and moving on.
Okay.
If you're going to look at the card for face value, this is the whole energy of this tutorial, is looking at the cards for face value first.
Okay.
Because we don't need to complicate the tarot. We just need to look at it for face value and then relate it to the other cards in the reading.
Okay.
Okay? So that was the first card, the Fool. So moving on.
Is this the Fool's journey?
It could definitely be a fool's journey. It definitely is a journey or travel.
Or the beginning of the...
New beginnings.
Okay.
Setting off on a new venture. Okay. Now, if the card was reversed, then you're looking at a blockage of that. You're looking at foolishness, fear of the unknown, and impulsiveness. You're also looking at poor judgment, risk, and inexperience.
Okay.
So, the first card in the deck that has a number is the Magician, and it's the number 1. Now, the Magician represents the connection between the physical and the non-physical. It represents creativity and action. It represents being able to manifest your desires, your skills, and some people might look at it as magic, but it's just skills and confidence, and being able to make all those things work. And as you can see, that he's got all the tools of the trade on the table. He's got his pentacle, he's got his cup, sword, and wand, all at his disposal, and using all of them to manifest his desires. And it's a never-ending cycle with the infinity symbol. That's what that represents. It's never-ending. It's continually moving. So it's directing your willpower. It's directing your will. It's visualization. It's manifestations of your desires. Okay? Now, if the card is reversed, it comes up in a reading reversed, then those energies are blocked. The creativity is blocked. It could show weakness and indecision, not being able to manifest things, having like a writer's block would be a good, for instance.
Well, I know what that's like.
And it could be delays in all of those things to overcome.
Okay. I just noticed that the color, the yellow.
A lot of yellows.
A lot of yellow
brightness.
in it. And it seems like new beginnings. Yeah. It's got a certain vibe to the yellow.
When you get a lot of yellows, then you have new beginnings. You have manifestations, creativity. Energy. Very strong, vibrant energies.
Okay.
Okay, so the next card up is the 2, which is the High Priestess. And you can see she sits between 2 pillars, the yin, the yang, the white, the black, the Boaz, and Yakin. And what that is being able to combine your intuition with the physical existence. And it is a mastery and it's intuition. You see this card in a reading and it's telling you to trust your gut and use your intuition. It's an inner knowing of things, an absolute knowing, self-trust, spiritual insights, emotional stabilities. It's esoteric wisdom and knowledge as well. Things yet to be revealed, especially if connected with the moon card. It could represent your spirit guides, and it's discovering your truth. Now, the card in reverse, if it shows up in a reading, is going to indicate misuse of your intuition or a blocked intuition. It could be acting on bias or prejudice instead of your intuition. It could mean that you're being manipulative, or you could have a lack of emotional control and a lack of intuitive expertise. Mm-hmm. The next card up is the Empress, and she's the number 3. The Empress typically represents the divine feminine. Pregnancy, motherhood, nurturing, fertility, sensuality, creativity with beauty. It's a feminine nature or harmony in art. It's very much so if you were to combine the Empress with the Lovers and the Four of Wands and the Two of Cups, you're looking at either a pregnancy or weddings. Because they all represent the divine feminine and nurturing and fertility and two energies of a combined nature coming together. Now, the Empress in reverse could indicate an insincerity, insecurity, infertility, lack of confidence, lack of growth. Could be overbearing tendencies. There could be neglect and disharmony within the cards around it. It would indicate those things. It could indicate like if it would be an overbearing divine feminine. Overbearing divine feminine.
Okay.
The next card up is the Emperor, and the Emperor is the number 4. Now the Emperor represents stability and structure. You see, he sits on a granite throne, so he's very stable and he's very much in his own power. There's protection there. There's a feeling of protection. There's a feeling of authority. He sits with his crown on his head, which is authority. There's control, practicality, focus. There's also the ram's head, would indicate strength and a very determined attitude. The fire sign is the
Aries.
Is Aries. That's absolutely. And it also represents discipline, logic. This person could be, if it's a person, he could be very practical, an older man who's stable and dependable. Could represent fatherhood and father figures.
But they're also not gender specific.
They're not. Right. It is not gender specific, but it is definitely the energy of the father figure. Typically, there's other cards that can represent the divine feminine or the divine masculine when it comes to finding that. But if the Emperor does come up, it's typically because there is a divine masculine energy that represents that control and that practicality and that overlord sort of energy.
Okay.
Now, the Emperor in reverse is exactly that. It is an abuse of power. It could be rigidity and stubbornness, a lack of discipline, a lack of control, an absentee father. Or there could be paternity issues.
Man-child.
Exactly.
Okay.
The next card up is the Hierophant, which is the number 5. The Hierophant represents traditional values. It represents traditional institutions. It represents conventional conformity, marriages, commitments, religions, beliefs, knowledge of sharing social groups, education, knowledge, and beliefs. It represents judges. It represents father figures. It could represent court cases. Let's see. It could also represent, like I said, the clergy, your churches, people in authority, people that kind of have a say over you. Now, the Hierophant in reverse is exactly that. It could be challenging tradition, unconventional lifestyles, or unconventional relationships, reversed roles in a relationship, non-conformity in society.
Okay.
The next card up is the Lovers, and it's exactly face value for the card. It represents lovers. It represents relationships, people who have a very close emotional relationship and attachment. It doesn't have to be sexual. It just is a very close bond between two human beings. It could be choices, soulmates, kindred spirits, perfect unions, partnerships, relationships, romance, desires, sexual connections, and shared values. It's definitely a very much the romance card. Partnerships, connections, love connections. Okay. Not just friendships, but love connections. Okay. Now, this card in reverse is exactly that. It's disharmony. There could be trust issues. There's an imbalance. It's blocked. There's a conflict. There's a disconnect with these two souls. There's a lack of accountability, a disunion or detachment. Discord, yes. Arguments. Other cards, especially if you get other cards like the 5 of Wands or 6 of Wands that comes up, and you get the lovers in reverse, then you're having arguments and detachments, and it's not a good situation. The next card up is the Chariot, and it's the number 7 in the higher arcana. The Chariot has the yin-yang feel again, the black, the white, the duality. But there's a controlled movement when it comes to the Chariot. It is definitely movement. It can represent cars or automobiles. That's why because when you're in a car, you are controlling the direction the car goes. Same energy with this Chariot. It could also be victory. If you were, going around, the gladiator pit in the Chariot, you're usually going around victorious. So it's a victory of sort. It could be overcoming obstacles, successes and ambitions. There's a determined willpower with the Chariot. Control, self-discipline. That's why there's a controlled movement. It's a self-discipline. There's hard work and focus when it comes to the Chariot.
Could it sometimes represent travel?
It can represent cars and car travel. Yes, it can. If you were to add it with, say, if this card came up with the Hierophant in reverse, then maybe you should watch the speed of your car because a ticket could be likely. Ooh. Now, the Chariot in reverse is a forcefulness or a lack of direction. It could be a lack of self-control, a powerlessness. There could be aggression, coercion, or being blocked by obstacles. There could be a car accident if this card is reversed.
Or a canceled trip,
maybe. Or a canceled trip, but it's typically a trip by road. Because this card, the Chariot, represents cars. Also cars. It represents cars and car travel. You could have car trouble if this card is reversed. Depending on other cards with it, you could get a ticket. So when you see the Chariot, look at the surrounding cards and see what it's trying to tell you. So the next card up is the Strength card. It is the 8 in the higher arcana. It could also be referenced as the Passion card because it requires inner strength and courage. It's courage and bravery because you have the soft female opening up the lion's mouth. It takes a lot of courage and confidence to be able to look a lion in the mouth. Okay, there's bravery and confidence there. There's compassion and gentleness and taming the wild beast. There's control, overcoming self-doubt, focus, persuasion, and influence over others, over that beast, whatever the beast may be. When the Strength card is reversed, you're looking at a vulnerability, self-doubt, weakness, lack of confidence, low self-esteem, and feeling inadequate. The next card up is the Hermit, and it's number 9 in the higher arcana. And the Hermit basically is first and foremost to honor your spiritual self. And then it represents soul searching, looking within oneself to find the truth. fool everybody else, but we cannot fool ourselves. We never can.
Doing the inner work.
That's right. You need to do the inner work, soul search, self-reflection, introspection, contemplation, inner guidance, and solitude. Sometimes we have to go off by ourselves to do this. And this is what the Hermit represents.
Okay.
Now, the Hermit in reverse represents a loneliness, represents isolation. It represents bringing reclusiveness to your environment. It represents withdrawal from social activities and restrictions. It could be that you're paralyzed by fear. You could have social anxiety. That's what Hermit would represent, social anxiety, depending on other cards that are surrounding it. But that card is the lack of self-reflection, the lack of confidence, the lack of being able to be around others. So you're withdrawing. You are paralyzed with fear, basically. A lot of people have phobias like that, and that would be the Hermit reversed.
Agoraphobia.
There you go. The next card up is the Wheel of Fortune. It's the number 10. And right off the bat, look at the card for face value. Wheel of Fortune. What does that tell you? That tells you good luck. Good luck and fortune. First off, could be good luck and chance. It could be good karma. It could mean the soulmate that you've been dreaming of. It could mean decisive moments, cycles of life, fortune, the fortunate games of chance. You could be riding the waves of life with the Wheel of Fortune. It's a very high energy card.
Okay.
The Wheel of Fortune in reverse is exactly the opposite of it face up. Exactly the opposite. Instead of this wonderful luck, you have bad luck. Upheaval, disorder, external forces blocking you, lack of control, disruptions, delays, unwelcome changes, and setbacks in those cycles of life.
I see. Bad vibration.
Bad vibrations, absolutely. The next card up for the major arcana is the Justice card, and it's number 11. Now, Justice, if you want to scratch out Justice and write karma, you might get a better feeling of this card because it's karmic justice, okay? It's consequences, especially legal. Disputes, could be law problems. There could be, there's the seeking of truth and honesty. There's integrity. This represents definite integrity, cause and effect, life lessons. Justice in reverse is exactly that. Injustice, karmic retributions, dishonesty, corruptions, lack of accountabilities, unfairness, and karmic avoidance.
Karmic bypassing.
Okay. The next card up is the Hanged Man. It's the number 12. And the Hanged Man, there's a few different definitions for this card, in my opinion. First off, it's looking at things in an opposite perspective than what you're used to. It could also be feeling like you're trapped and don't know what kind of way to swing, which way to go. You're just kind of stagnant and trying to take it all in. You could be limiting yourself because of the being hanged on this tree.
Self-limiting beliefs.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
It's also feeling confined and maybe a feeling of uncertainty or a lack of direction. And that's why you're just kind of like frozen in time. You're just waiting because you figure that maybe not making a decision is the best decision. Not making a decision at all, not doing anything.
Yeah, that's not a good thing either.
But a lot of times, being the Hanged Man, instead of knee-jerk reacting or not reacting, you're just deciding to
allow,
let things progress the way they're supposed to. Take a minute, take a breather, take things in, then consider your options. So you're looking at things in a different perspective.
Okay.
The Hanged Man in reverse is a discontentment. There could be apathy here. Stagnation, definitely. Impulsiveness. negative patterns and being detached.
Okay.
Maybe, the upright of the card is looking at things in a different perspective. And in reverse, it's not allowing other perspectives to be considered. Okay?
You're not looking at things through
other people. That's right. Through
Okay.
the way other people might. Is to take the time to look at things when it's upright, the way others may be looking at it. It's at least giving the opportunity to consider their perspective.
Yeah, no matter how right you think your perspective might be, because we always try to make right decisions. We do the best we can, and oftentimes we look back and realize, wow, I hadn't realized that maybe that's what this person was seeing or feeling, or that's why they made these decisions. So yeah,
right. Because we all have our own truths.
Right.
I have a truth in my perspective. You have a truth in your perspective. And
Right.
doesn't mean that either one of them are wrong or right. Everybody has their own truth. So they have their own perspective of the truth.
Very good.
The next card up is the Death card. It's the number 13. Don't be afraid of this card. When this card appears, there needs to be a transformation. Sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's physical, but it's going to have new beginnings. Things are going to change. Things are going to transform from one thing to another. Or you're going to feel different about something. There's a transition going on here. It could be even letting go of a certain cosmology that you've always lived by. So there's a transition in things that could be spiritual transitions. Sudden unexpected upheavals as well, endings and releases. Could also represent face value, death. Okay? Everybody dies, don't be afraid of it. If it does represent death, it's a letting go and it's a transforming of the spirit from the physical to the spiritual. So it's not a bad thing. Now, the Death card in reverse is an inability to move forward, to not transform. Being stagnant, a fear of new beginnings, repeating negative patterns, and resisting change, or also dependency. Fear of change makes us in fear of moving forward. And the only constant in this universe is change. And we all look at change as a fearful thing. Every human being does. But it is the only thing that keeps us moving forward and keeps our lives progressing, is change. So welcome it. Our next card up is the Temperance, and it's number 14. Now, Temperance is a balance. It's peace. It's a inner peace and an inner balance of your energies. It's patience and moderation. It's an inner calm, perspective and tranquility. Harmonious relationships. It is serenity. It could be soulmates, but it's a very fluid balance of energies. Now, Temperance in reverse is an imbalance. It could be self-indulgence, excess, clashing, lack of perspectives, discord, antagonism, relentless hastiness, and imbalance of your energies. The next card up is the Devil card. It's the number 15. Now, the Devil card represents things that we consciously know that we shouldn't be doing, we should get out of, we shouldn't be addicted to, because it represents addictions. It represents addictions to drugs. It could be sexual addictions. It could be gambling. Whatever that addiction is.
Shoe shopping.
Shoe shopping. Whatever the addiction is, you're aware of it when the Devil card shows up, because you can break loose of it, but you choose not to. You can pull that chain right off your neck, but you know it's a bad thing. You know it's not good for you, but yet you choose to continue on. So there could be mental health issues here as well. It has to do with the ego too, and self-satisfying physical things that we do.
Instant gratification.
That's a very good one. Cheating, being adulterous, dependencies. It could be materialism.
Too much of a good thing.
Very much so. Could be powerlessness and hopelessness. Could be sexual abuse. Could be spousal abuse, violence and assault. It could be all of those things. But usually in those cases, it's something that's ongoing and that you know about it. It's not a surprise to you. You're aware of it.
Okay.
You're just not doing anything about it. Now, the Devil card in reverse is exactly the opposite. You've released those bonds. You have made a change. You've let go. You've tried to make a difference. You're releasing that bondage, removing those chains. You could be feeling also at the end of your rope. When you're feeling at the end of your rope, you're bound to make a change.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that's the Devil card in reverse.
Right, some of us, we need to reach rock bottom before we
absolutely
are able to, there's nowhere to go but up.
Right, because your back's against the wall and you have to make a change.
Yes.
And that's the Devil card in reverse. Your back's against the wall, you have to make the change, and you let go. The next card up is the Tower card. It's the number 16. Take the card for face value first and foremost. What does it look like? It looks like chaos. It looks like a catastrophe. The Tower card represents a catalyst of events that have to occur for things to be brought down to nothing so that you can build it back up again. Okay? It's chaos and destruction. It's sudden upheaval. When that Tower card shows up, you didn't see this coming. You get very little notice of this. It's going to happen because it's a higher arcana. It's got to happen. The higher arcana represents things that you are not in control of. You jump in the back seat, let the universe take the steering wheel, because things are going to happen no matter how hard you put up a fight. It's going to happen. So just sit back, let things happen. Things happen for a reason. Things change. And just embody the change. Respect it. Feel it. Thrive on it. Because that's what humans thrive on, is change. Even though we're afraid of it, we thrive on it. But it represents disaster and loss. But especially before it happens, especially if you all of a sudden, right before it happens, you start seeing it, you get scared and you worry. And it's like, oh my God, things are going to blow up and fall apart. And I don't know how I'm going to handle it. Could be divorce, abuse, and violence. Could be bankruptcy, natural disasters, of course, tragedies. But it's an unexpected change that happens. That's the Tower. It's a catalyst for change. Now, the Tower card in reverse is exactly that. It could be averting disaster, avoiding tragedy, delaying the inevitable, avoiding the loss, and resisting change. Now, when I said when it was upright, things have to happen because the universe is going to make sure that things happen. When this card turns up in a reading, and you see it there, if you make no other choices but the path you've been on, then things will inevitably turn out as the reading portrays. But we all have free will. So if you see something like that, you can avert disaster and avert change, or avert the weight, the majority chaos of the weight of the change. If you see it coming, and you can make a slight adjustment, you can make things change because we do have free will. So do keep that in mind. The next card up is the Star, and it's the number 17. Now look at the card for face value. It's a star. It's hope. It's desires. It's recognition and inspiration. There's a contentment. There's renewal. It's getting your heart's desires. It's your wishes. You're rejuvenating. There's a feeling of faith and healing here with the pond and the it's also a balance too, because you have the two containers of water both being poured and they're running off into the same pond. So it may also represent stepping stones to complete for your contentment and hopes and desires. Certain steps to take to acquire that. Now, the Star in reverse is exactly the opposite. It's feeling hopeless. It's being depressed. It's not having any zest for life anymore. It's a lack of faith, a lack of inspiration, boredom, a lack of focusing, and you're only focusing on the negative instead of the positive. The next card up is the moon card. It's the number 18. Now the moon represents a duality, things that are hidden from you but will come to light. Things that are in the shadows. It could represent lies or deceit, something somebody hasn't told you yet. Something, it's a secret. There's a secret somewhere. Somebody is keeping from you. So basically that moon card is a feeling, you know in your gut that there's something there. You know it. So it's an intuitive feeling that you're not quite getting the whole story. Okay. There could also be deceptions. Okay. Anxiety, misconceptions. And it could be your subconscious also trying to speak to you. Now, the moon card in reverse is releasing your fear. It's unveiling secrets, secrets that are coming to light. Finally, they come to light. You knew they were there, and you had that gut feeling, and you finally are getting confirmation that there was something being withheld, some kind of secret come to light, or somebody's finally told you the truth or come clean, okay? It's regaining your composure and self-discipline to deal with it, all right? There's a feeling of anxiety starting to subside because you've been validated. You know that what you felt and thought was the truth, that you knew there was something and you were right. The next card up is the Sun card. The Sun card is the number 19, and take the card for face value. It's a very positive, uplifting, sunny, shiny, get what you want card. Things are coming exactly the way you want them, and it's very positive. There's a freedom there. It's fun. It could be having fun and success. There's optimism there and joy. The little kid riding the horse is very happy. There's joy of riding through that meadow or with the sunflowers and the sun shining on them. There's a self-expression. Could be good luck as well. There's enthusiasm in that kid riding that horse. He's having fun. There's a certain base truth and happiness there. There's an openness there. It could also represent pregnancy with other cards. Now the Sun card in reverse is exactly the opposite. It's a lack of enthusiasm, boredom, depression, not having fun anymore. It could be the ego getting in the way. You know, some people's egos are so big they just get in the way of them having fruitful relationships. There could be oppression there. It could also represent stillbirths and miscarriages. Okay, keep that in mind. Because the joy is gone. The joy is lacking. There's a blockage of the joy in the sun and the rays. You know, you'd look at the sun as being, quote, God. God gives life. God gives life to everything on this planet. So if that sun is reversed, then you don't have the life. The life is not growing. The next card up is the 20, and it's the Judgment card. And take it for face value. There's judgment going on here. Whether you're judging someone, if someone's judging you, you could be being judged in courts. You could be being judged by your spouse, your coworkers, your boss. There's some sort of a decisiveness here of knowing that you're being judged. But there could also be this feeling of a spiritual judgment because you have the angel in the card with the trumpet, which indicates a spiritual connection to the universal judgment of your actions of life. Do unto others as one would do unto me. How does that go? How does that go?
It's the golden rule.
Yeah, the golden rule. Thank you. And it also represents snap judgments, okay? Knee-jerk reactions and snap judgments. It's appropriating blame. It's also pointing the finger at others, okay? Now, the Judgment in reverse is a lack of judgment. All right, you could be showing a lack of judgment in your decisions. It's indecisiveness. There's self-doubt there. It could be malicious gossip as well from others. You may feel out of touch with the universal connection. there's an unwillingness to learn your karmic lessons when the Judgment is reversed. The last card of the deck is the World card, and it's the number 21. Now, the World card represents coming full circle. Coming full circle, it means the successes that you've had in life. You've been able to progress to a certain point in your life, or your desires or your thoughts, to where you have come full circle with things. There's achievement there. That's a feeling of achievement, going full circle. It could also represent fulfillment of your desires and your aspirations. It's a sense of belonging and wholeness, but definitely coming full circle. The card also represents that since it is coming full circle, it's what you've been working for. You already have. It's already done. You've already done it. You may not even see it. You may have worked for it, but you already have it. Some people can't see the forest for the trees. And the World card would indicate that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, the World card in reverse is a lack of success, a lack of completion, not being able to complete your desires. You're feeling stagnant, a lack of achievement, disappointment and burdens, a lack of completion. And there you have it. There's one more card I would like to add to our higher arcana. Okay, the next card that I would like to tell you about and talk about is an additional card that I learned about through Tarot Unveiled. And this is the back of the deck. And what it is an additional card that they've added to indicate things that you may not have the opportunity to know yet. The universe says it's not the right time for the information to be given to you, whatever that is. It may, whenever the time is right, the universe will give you the information or the knowledge or the abilities or skills or whatever it is that you require to progress. But at this time of the reading, that information is there. You just can't have it yet. So we call that card the To All Believers card. And that information is still up in the ether. It's still up in the universe, swirling around, waiting for the moment to be dropped down on you. So I added that card to my decks because I think it's a very important card to have, because a lot of times you don't have the information you need. And if you had it prior to the timing, the perfect timing, then things wouldn't end up the way they're supposed to. Because you had the information too soon and you acted differently than as if you had it at the right time and made the right choices. And that's what that card represents.
Makes you wonder if we have free will at all.
I know, right? There you go. So there you go. That's the major arcana. Please come back for the minor arcana definitions. And thanks for viewing. Have a good night.
And if you would like us to cover anything else, particularly,
we'd be happy to. Just leave us a comment in the comment section below.
Thank you so much.